Getting the right language is such a problem, isn't it? Today, Keir Starmer is going to revise the right language. It's a little bit like, do you remember that wonderful scene from The Court Jester with Danny Kaye about the vessel in the pestle? And was it the pellet with the poisons in the vessel from the pestle, and the chalice in the palace has the brew that is true? Have I got that right? Um, anyway, that's a sort of thing that I suppose, in a way, Keir Starmer is planning to do today in the Rose Garden. He's going to deliver a somber message to the public, acknowledging the deep-seated issues with the nation's political and economic structure. But I don't think he's going to say, "Oh, we're going to restore, revise, rebuild the Home Office," because that's what he needs to do. Starmer will argue that it's all about rhetoric, and will say that the UK's current problems are not superficial, they're systemic, they require a comprehensive overhaul. His speech will reflect the theme of rebuilding and restoring trust, emphasising that the situation may worsen before it improves. It's a stark contrast to the optimism that characterised Tony Blair's 1997 campaign. If you remember, what was it now? The things can only get better. I can't remember who it was who wrote that. Not somebody terribly important. It suddenly became this enormous hit. I think it was also used in Jeremy Clarkson's program, and some other bits and pieces. Anyway, it was famously this song famously underscored Blair's ascent to power, and infuse the nation with hope and an unwavering belief in progress. In the chorus, things can only get better if we see it through. That means me, and I mean you too. It's and the song went on to talk about teaching, not just about this collective effort and the shared optimism, but the idea that you teach optimism. This is in contrast to South Pacific, where there's a song where we learn to be racist. In Things Can Only Get Better, we learn to be more optimistic. It suggests a forward-looking, positive vision where the worst is something we learn to put behind us, and the days are imminent of something better if everybody pulls together and if everybody shares that vision. I think it's right, by the way. I think optimism is something we learn, not something we naturally inhabit. And in that, I suppose, I'm closer to Hobbes than to Rousseau. I think our natural position is that life is nasty, brutish, and short. And I don't think there is a natural return to Eden, but we can be taught to find Eden, to find a new Jerusalem. But Starmer's proposed rhetoric is cautious, but it's just words. With Blair's Labour and the backing of this anthem, promised immediate improvements and a fresh start could be delivered, because the language and the teaching was there. Starmer's preparing the public for doom and gloom. He's preparing the public for tough choices, for hard work. And he stresses that significant change is necessary to address what he describes as the deep rot in the heart of British politics and institutions. And he's right, but I don't think he's tackling the real change that's necessary. His acknowledgement that things will get worse before they get better is a far cry from the hopeful message of the 1997 campaign, highlighting the gravity of the changes now that we face in the UK today, particularly after the Axel Rudakawama event in Southport. But this contrast between the two eras and their respectful messages is striking. In 1997, the Labour Party rode this wave of optimism, promising a new dawn with the reassurance that the future held immediate improvements. And now, under Starmer, Labour is framing its message around the need for resilience and realism, warning that the path to recovery will be arduous and require substantial time and effort. And the song's line, "Teach me now that things can only get better," could be interpreted in the context of a plea for guidance and leadership. What is Starmer now saying? That he's going to guide us through difficult times? No, he's simply saying, do it yourself. It's not terribly reassuring, but it's within the scope of this commitment to rhetoric over reality, which Starmer seems to offer, just as Priti Patel, Suella Braverman, and the other lot also offered that. They just offer words, 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 to quote Hamlet, albeit with an acknowledgement that there is a steep climb ahead. Well, you're going to provide us with the tools for that steep climb. Don't think so. I don't think that's what's actually coming out. The steep climb can be negotiated if we rebuild the Home Office. While Blair's use of "things can only get better" encapsulated a moment of unbridled optimism, Starmer's speech reflects the complex and challenging reality of the present. I'm afraid I tend towards the Starmer rhetoric, but I would want to see some sort of action, and I don't think that's what's being promised. I think this is somebody pontificating in the garden. He might as well be trimming the rose beds, pruning the roses, and at least then he would be doing something useful. This is just playing around with his thesaurus, and it offers nothing of substance, and it's like the pronouncement that a judge makes, like Andrew Meanery or somebody, that a judge makes after the so when the verdict is delivered and when the judge is summing up. That's all Starmer is doing in the Rose Garden today. I'm afraid he is being barrister-like. He's doing his old job, and that isn't very interesting. We need somebody who can actually deliver the change which could drag our country fully into the 21st century. That would mean aligning the country's expectations with the Brexit reality, and delivering a Brexit bonus, a Brexit plus, demonstrating that Brexit can yield a result. I don't believe it can, or at least I don't believe it has so far. I know it hasn't so far, but I am optimistic enough to think that it could. I don't think I'm the person to deliver it, by the way, because I don't believe in Brexit, but I think somebody who did believe could deliver something. It's a long shot and it's a long way, but we have to live with this. And that hopeful spirit cannot be kindled without significant change to our systems. And I don't think that's what Starmer is proposing to do. I think Starmer is proposing to tax us a lot and is preparing to give us bad news. That's it. This is rather like the sandwich that sometimes teachers are taught to deliver, wedging the difficult stuff in between two little bits of faint praise. I hate it. I can see it coming the moment it's being assembled. And we need that honest work that I think Starmer would expect needs to be built on a proper solid foundation. The Home Office is not a solid foundation. The Home Office is a demonstration of laxity, a demonstration of tardiness and self-indulgence, and swamping swamping the country with the illusion of activity through paperwork. Paperwork is a myth. The paperwork doesn't produce the goods. The paperwork is at best a commitment to change. It's not the change itself. You've actually got to get people off their backsides to actually do something. And that starts in the civil service. It starts in the Home Office. The Home Office is the key to change. I hope the hopeful spirit of that song, "Things Can Only Get Better," lingers, but it does need to be tempered, certainly, by the recognition that any recovery will not be swift, will not be easy, and we are recovering from things that are not exclusively the responsibility of the Conservative Party. Things started to get bad under Blunkett, maybe even before that. But the key to recovery is the restoration of the dignity and the direction of the Home Office.